So it's a fact. Selling courses online is a great business model. But the problem is getting your course set up and ready to be sold and ready to be consumed by your students. Now, there are a variety of solutions to creating a learning environment for your customers. These range from $97 per month SaaS platforms all the way down to WordPress plugins. Now, here's the truth. Not everyone wants to be stuck with an online platform that they don't own. And maybe you want to use WordPress because you already have a WordPress site. So what if there was a way to set up your online course on your WordPress site, and a site that you own, and that can never be shut down? I want to introduce you to a brand new 8-part step-by-step video course on how to set up an engaging online course on your WordPress site. Now, if you're concerned about technical aspects and you might be not tech savvy at all, don't worry. This is a simple watch over my shoulder, step-by-step, click-by-click video course. So here's a quick overview of what's inside this video course. Video number 1 is the introduction. We'll talk about a brief overview of the course and an idea of what you need to have to get started. Video number 2, we'll talk about a big overlooked problem and a big reason why a lot of potential students and customers come in to courses and never complete a course, which is something that most people never think about. Because the reality is, if you can get people to consume your whole course, they're most likely going to consume your other courses. Video number 3, we'll talk about the experience. This is also another big overlooked issue. The experience that your students have from the beginning to the end is crucial. Video number 4, we'll talk about different WordPress learning management system plugins that are available to you. Video number 5, we'll talk about our recommended WordPress LMS plugin that we highly recommend. And video number 6, we'll talk about the consumption boost. So you'll kind of get an idea that in this course, our goal is not just to set up the online course and to sell it, but to get people to consume it and not become overwhelmed. So we'll talk about that in video number 6, how to increase that percentage. Video number 7, we'll talk about engagement, how to engage with your students and get them to stay, because that's a big thing. Video number 8, we'll talk about prestige and fun. In other words, how to get people to feel valued to stay and how to give them a little bit of fun so that they are enjoying the experience. The more fun that they can have, even if the video course is serious, the more that they are going to complete the course. So as you can see here, the theme here is getting people to complete your course by consuming everything. So with that said, go ahead and grab this course now and learn how to set up your highly engaging course today. Hello, this is video number 7, and let's talk about engagement. So it's a known fact that people buy courses, but in order to get them to stay, you need to engage them. Now, there are 2 ways to do this. Number 1, the first way is to add quizzes to engage directly with your students. So as we discussed when we mapped things out, remember in video number 3, we created a quiz, but we want to make sure that it's short, it's sweet, it's to the point, and it doesn't take too long. Now, you have to think, does my audience like quizzes? Because some people get overwhelmed by quizzes. So this is all about you knowing your audience better than me. So if that's the case, you may not want to do quizzes. The second way is to have a community. People will stay longer when they don't feel that they are alone. A lot of times people pay more money to be part of a community. So if you don't have quizzes, you definitely want to have a community. Now, you can achieve this by creating a forum. And you can actually do this within LearnDash. So you can do both. You can do quizzes and forums. Now, let's discuss how to go about doing this. All right. So to create a quiz, all you have to do is simply click on quizzes, and this is the quizzes section. You can either create a new quiz or you can edit an existing one. Now, as you can see, you can create the quiz, you can assign it to an author, you can assign it to a course. Each quiz will have a unique shortcode that you can simply copy and paste that into a page. Now, let's just click on edit here for the sake of showing you a populated quiz. And we can see quiz page. It says final quiz like that. So that's just the basics. And then we click on settings. And this allows you to add it to an associated course, associated lesson. You can have quiz prerequisites. And you can have a passing score. Now, bear in mind, like I said earlier, if this is a group of people that may get overwhelmed if they get the quiz wrong and they can't move forward, that's something that you need to take into consideration. So if the passing score is 80 and your student continues to take the quiz, but they keep on getting like a 50, that could create a problem. So maybe you just want to do a fun quiz and do a passing score of 0, for example, or 10, something low. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now we've got a quiz certificate, so you can create certificates for that particular quiz. So for example, if this were an exam for something, you could give them a certificate for completing that exam. So obviously, if that was the case, you can definitely up the passing score to something higher. And of course, once you create your quiz, and that's pretty self-explanatory, but once you do that, you can simply add it to the course builder, and that's it. Now, of course, the second option is to create a community with, it could be a forum or it could be a commenting system. So to do that, you will need to have an add-on. If you go to LearnDash add-ons under third party, you will want to install the BuddyPress for LearnDash. So it says BuddyPress for LearnDash integrates the LearnDash LMS plugin with BuddyPress so that you can add groups, forums, members, activity to your courses. So you'll need to install that. And then next, what you want to do is you want to go to groups. You want to create a new group, name the group here, add a description, and then you simply scroll down and you can assign the admin. It says enable. If you enable this, automatically group enrollment when a user enrolls into a course. So you can say anybody who takes a specific course will be automatically added to this group. Now, when you create a group, you can automatically install, delete that, delete. Right here, you can specify, okay, these are courses that have access to a certain group. So like I mentioned earlier, if you want to have one group for all of the classes, you can simply add all of these right here. Now, if you want to have an individual group that is focused for biology, a different group for chemistry, economics, and so forth and so on, you can do that individually as well. Now, after that, you can assign a admin and the users. Now, LearnDash, like I said earlier, provides a lot of information on how to set up forums, how to do all these different types of features that you might want to do. So with that said, let's move on to the next video. Okay, so welcome back. This is video number 6, and this is what we call the consumption boost. So we talked briefly about different ways to increase the consumption rate, but how can we increase it further? Now, before we can understand that, we need to talk about a big problem. All right, so one of the reasons that people stop in the middle of a course is that they are overwhelmed. Now, we talked briefly about this in the previous videos, but this is a big problem. People get anxiety. People get, stressed out when they get in the middle course and they think, oh, this is so much information. I'm getting information overload. They start to second guess themselves and they start to have paralysis analysis. They ask all these questions, which then prevents them from actually moving forward. So how can we combat that? So the best way to avoid this is by what we call drip feeding. Drip feeding content, the idea is simply to space things out so that people receive video 1, video 2, maybe the first day. Maybe they have to do a to-do list before they actually go to video number 3. So what we found over the years is, yes, it can be annoying to some people. And a lot of people get annoyed by that because they are expecting all the videos at one time. But by giving them all the videos at one time, they don't realize that it actually goes against their success. So if you are going to do drip feeding, you may want to mention that in your introduction video and say, look, we've created this course to ensure that you have a high rate of success, that you are able to implement everything that we're going to teach you. So that's something to keep in mind. So like I said, a lot of people get annoyed by that, but like I said, in reality, your students are more likely to implement what you tell them if you space things out. So instead of giving everything on day 1, you can spread it out. Now, the nice thing about LearnDash and other WordPress plugins is a lot of them enable you to drip feed. That's a very standard option these days. Now, you really need to weigh things out. Is that something you really need? Because if your course is very simple, maybe you don't need that. But if it's highly technical, a lot of times you will need that. So that's just something to bear in mind. Knowing your audience is key. So if your audience, let's say, for example, is a lot of newbies, you want to make sure that you space things out. So now what I want to do is jump on over to LearnDash and show you around and show you the drip feeding feature and how to go about implementing that. Okay, so drip feeding your content is very easy to implement. All you have to do is simply go to your course. In this case, we have philosophy. You want to go to your builder, and underneath your builder, you're going to have different lessons. So this is one lesson. This is lesson 2. And within the lessons, we have 2 different topics for each. So let's say we want to release this immediately, and then we want to release this maybe 2 days later. So this one, we don't have to do anything because this is what they see first. This one will have to delay it by 2 days. To do that, it's really easy to do. You just click edit like that. And what that will do is it'll go into that particular lesson. And we want to go to settings. And if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, it's going to say lesson release schedule. So this is the drip feed option. You can either have the lesson be made available immediately. So by default, they're all going to be made available immediately. It says here, the lesson will be available X days after course enrollment, or the lesson will be available on a specific date. So specific date, the only time that you would use that is if you would have like a live class kind of thing. So most of you would use something like the enrollment based. So if we want to delay it by 2 days, you would simply enter 2 days like so, and that's it. So when you're done, you simply click update here, and that's it. So that's what you're going to want to do if you take a look at the map per se. So we got videos 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say that the individual videos are topics that are in 2 different lessons. So videos 1 and 2 are in lesson number 1, and 3 and 4 are in lesson number 2. So what we can do there is looking at the map, we see what we need to do, and we simply implement that. So if we have like a third lesson, you would simply go to that lesson like we did here and simply click on enroll based and do it 2 days later. So let's say we have 3 different lessons. So one is immediately, the second one is 2 days later, and the third one, let's do 4 days later, because you need to start it after the course enrollment. So that's just something to keep in mind as you implement the drip feed system. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Hello and welcome to video number 5. Let's talk about the recommended WordPress LMS plugin. So, as you saw in the previous video, there are tons and tons of different WordPress LMS plugins. But we recommend LearnDash. And the reason why we recommend LearnDash is it's based on Fortune 500 company courses. So the guy behind it is very knowledgeable of learning management systems. So he's not just someone who decided, oh, one day I'm going to create this and I have no experience. It's somebody who actually has experience and created it based on their experience. And looking through LearnDash, utilizing it ourselves, we've come to like it. And what's nice about LearnDash is it also integrates into a lot of other plugins, such as GammaPress.com, which allows you to gamify your online course and much more. So that's something else that you want to think about is, does the WordPress plugin that I'm using going to integrate with a lot of other WordPress plugins? Because if it doesn't, it kind of limits your ability to grow. It might work now, but as you grow, that'll create more problems later down the road. So let's jump on into LearnDash and I'll give you a quick overview of how things are laid out. Okay, so before I give you a quick overview of LearnDash, I want to briefly talk about LearnDash, the add-ons that it offers, and integration into things like GammaPress.com. So if you go to LearnDash.com and you go to add-ons, you'll be able to see, besides the main features, what it can integrate into. So for example, it can integrate into WooCommerce, Stripe, different shopping carts, so that allows you to take in money. You can do a course grid, which makes your courses look nice. You can integrate it into BuddyPress, which basically makes it into kind of like a Facebook atmosphere. You got LearnDash notifications. You got BBPress, which is private forums. It also integrates into a lot of membership WordPress plugins. So I highly recommend that you come here to this site just to kind of get a view of what it provides so that you can see the potential of growing your site. So like I said, LearnDash is primarily for creating courses and uploading your courses. But if you combine the power of courses, community, and fun or gamification, those 3 components combined together can actually make it so addicting that people will not leave your community. So if you go to GammaPress.com, that's GamiPress, G-A-M-I, press.com, this integrates into LearnDash. Now you can see the potential here. So for example, you can click on social. So you could connect GammaPress with YouTube or Vimeo. So in other words, you can give people points based on if they watch a certain amount of video. They can do other things. Let's click on all. In fact, I'll click on Pro add-ons. So they have free add-ons that you can use, and they have Pro add-ons as well. So you can see here, if people refer their friends, they can get points for that. Another thing is daily login rewards. So that way you can get people to come back to your site and log in every single day. And by doing that, they get rewards and they get points that they could potentially use to buy other things. So Now, to integrate that, you would have to install something like WooCommerce. And from WooCommerce, that is the sort of the bridge between GammaPress and LearnDash. It enables you to set things up so that people can get points. They can use those points to perhaps get discounts or even get certain things from your WooCommerce shop. So I wanted to show you that because that's very, very powerful to have. Okay, so now what I want to do is give you a quick overview of LearnDash. And LearnDash has been integrated into one of our sites. As you can see here, it says LearnDash LMS. And once you've installed it, you can go to Overview. And I want to point out that in addition to all the features that LearnDash offers you, it also offers you a lot of helpful documentation and learning information. So a lot of times when you purchase software or get access to web applications, they don't really offer you enough information on how to implement their plugin. So a lot of times you are left with trying to figure things out yourself. So fortunately for you though, LearnDash is so popular, you could either do it yourself or you could hire somebody on Upwork.com or other freelancing sites to actually set things up for you. Now, if we scroll up here, under LearnDash LMS, we have courses. So that's pretty self-explanatory, but courses are essentially a series of videos. So one course could have different lessons. So think of lessons kind of like a section. So for example, lessons could be sections. So you could have like section A, section B, section C, and then within the lessons, you can have topics. All right. And this will give you a better idea when we take a look at a live site. So to give you an idea of what a LearnDash course looks like, so this is chemistry, and this is a course. So it's going to have the title, the description, the teacher here, and of course you can start the course. You can see the course includes 2 lessons, 4 topics, and 1 quiz. So it's really not laid out really nice. Now, it really depends on your WordPress theme. So you want to keep in mind that your WordPress theme is going to make the styling a little bit different. So the styling that you see here may be a lot different than your styling. So that's a demo course. Right here is inside of the course of the chemistry course. And as you can see here, right here, these are sections, and these sections are basically what we call lessons. And underneath the lessons, these right here are topics. So we got course here, we got lessons, and then we've got topics. So as we can see here, once you've watched the video, and you can upload your videos, like I said earlier, to Vimeo or any other video hosting site. And it's really easy to create this. All you have to do is embed the video, add some text, and that's it. So as you can imagine, if somebody's going through here, when they're done, they click on Mark Complete. And what's nice about LearnDash is it pushes them to the next step. All right, so courses, lessons, topics, and then we got quizzes, which I'll discuss later down the road. We'll also discuss certificates later on. We've got assignments, we've got groups, we have reports, we have add-ons, and settings. Now, within add-ons, that allows you to add different elements to your learning management system. So we showed you earlier, if you go to the LearnDash website and you go to add-ons at the top, you'll be able to get a list of different add-ons that you can use and integrate into your site. Now, if we go into a course, in this case, we have philosophy, you can see that there's the title, the description right here. And then if you click on the builder, this allows you to build your course out. So we have the sections here so we can move things around. And as you can see, it's very easy. You can simply drag and drop things. So you've got lessons here. And if you click the drop down here, you've got the topics here. And you can drop quizzes in between these videos if you want to do that. So you see why we mapped everything out in the past videos. This way we know exactly what steps to create once we get into LearnDash. So we got settings and we've got groups. What's nice about this is you can create groups. So as you can see here, I've created the world history group, and you can say, okay, the world history group over here has access to this course. So anybody who's taking this course is automatically dumped in to this particular group. So maybe you have one group that encompasses lots of different courses. Or if you want to have an individual separate group for every single one of your courses, you can do that as well. So now that you have a brief overview of LearnDash, let's move on to the next video.